Hi, this is Greg with 31 Events. Thanks for stopping by. And Calendar Snack, you can see I'm in 31 Events right here. And then Calendar Snack, which is our sister organization that takes care of the application itself. This site here, Calendar Snack, as I scroll down through it, is our consumer site or showroom site. If you want to see how our technology actually works, it's come alive in the Calendar Snack itself. I'm not going to go too much into that, but it's a really cool site if you're just getting started. Try to understand what it is. It's completely free, and you go check it out. Today I'm going to go into the OEM part, or the part where we're focused on revenue, and that is the revenue part is sending calendar invites with your SES account, or simple email service account on AWS. So what's in the AWS calendar server box? You can see I'm going to scroll through the site real quick. The example built with the Calendar Snack here is up and running. It is the 300 games for the 2024-25 NFL season. I've loaded up 300 events via calendar invite client and sent that data to AWS. And we've essentially extracted, transformed, and reloaded that into this upcoming web page. It's all done auto-magically for you. I'm going to scroll down. You can kind of see what's going on here. As I scroll down through it, I just need to pick one of these here and say Minnesota Vikings maybe. You'll see that I am excited maybe for the Vikings. My wife is more excited than I am. But I'll scroll down through here and we'll just take a peek at maybe that one there. I pop the box out here. I'm going to say get the invitation. So what that does is actually send me a calendar invite to greg@techvader.com. Again, I'm not going to get into that, but the page is up and running. I encourage you to kind of take a peek at it. It's a lot of fun, and we get a lot of traffic just based on that right there. So I'm going to put that away and get back to the demo. So as I scroll down through this, you'll see that I have various decks that I've plumbed up here into the WordPress site. Example, there is how this demo was built, how we got the data into AWS from all the various calendar invitations, and how we created and updated them using the Calendar Snack dashboard and the calendar client. Here's the calendar client here, talking to the dashboard, talking through AWS, and it goes on and on. It's just a quick 20-minute overview. It only takes a few minutes to actually understand the conceptual part of our stack. And as you get through the configuration pages, how the pages are put together and how the upcoming events work, and then we kind of work through why you do it from a sports promotion standpoint. The gist of it is when someone hits the get the invite button, we send them the details in the calendar client itself, and then obviously track that. Now, if somebody was to come to one of these various pages, here's another one here. I'll just pop up real quick. And we won't go actually into that detail there, excuse me. We're going to keep going through this, but anytime anybody pops one of these pages up, you can kind of see that I highlighted here with the red arrows that I just demonstrated that when someone gets the calendar invite itself, we actually track all that data here in this report. And the data in the report here shows that all the individual dates for the NFL, we actually track in very granulated details of who accepted it, who didn't have any action, or someone to send a tentative or a no for all that data. So to kind of conclude, something that we don't want to forget about is talking about the same goes for sending bulk calendar invitations to lists. So this is a big part of our market segment where people are actually using our tech stack to come in, set up the calendar invitations, we ingest them, we put them in a dashboard, and then you're allowed to set up and send in our sample test app up to 100 calendar invites in a batch. And when you set them up, you can pick out what metaphorically what game you want to send them to, and you send out the calendar invites here on the right. So that API itself is set up to actually do calendar invite streaming through using the simple email service itself. We can send thousands of calendar invites in minutes out to subscribe lists overall, and I won't go too much farther into that. I'm going to go back here and go back to the website itself. So the website has, again, a very detailed technical overview to include this one here, which is essentially the whole website itself in a box. We go through great details on how it all works. I'm going to put this away and go back to the site. So when I scroll through this, you'll see that I have various buttons set up here to purchase. Obviously, we're a for-profit business. The way this works is if you were to buy a yearly subscription for the calendar invitation server, you pay $2,500 for a year for that service. I'm going to go ahead and put that away. And what you get access to is essentially this Serverless Access Management Template, or SAM as they call it. You download the template and install it yourself, and you're up and running for $2,500 a year. So inside that template, I'm going to kind of go through what's included in it here real quick. I'm going to get you through this next buy button, which is the $7,500 option, where you get the license itself. We actually install it in your account. We all get it up all and running. You get the Calendar Snack interface here that gives you access to all our APIs itself. And for that $7,500, we get you off and running. Typically in a couple days, we test it and hand it back to you. You get the Calendar Snack dashboard itself, and you're up and going. You don't need an AWS engineer at all. Now, if you don't want to do that, we have another option here. We've been working with several customers on this one, which is the subscribe button is $12,500 a year, and that includes full managed service where we manage the stack for you. We are your essential AWS simple email service provider, if you will, and we take care of the stack, including the Calendar Snack stack here, so you can actually use it for your business. So let me put all the commercial stuff away, kind of get after this here. The details on the APIs are here. So this includes full access to our 9 APIs as a builder. So again, you could use the Calendar Snack app here, or you can go back to building out your own application with our Calendar Server API kit that comes in a template. Now, as I walk through this, you'll see intellectual property-wise, we detail it all out. This gives you a good understanding how it's all built. If you're not technical, I get it, but I think there's a great appreciation for the builders in which we're working with that like to understand how we use their APIs and the message stack within AWS. So that said, it's all very detailed out, probably to the level of gruesome in some regard, but the gory details are here. So we talk a lot about our technology that uses the public calendar clients of either Google or Outlook, and how they work and how we ingest them. We essentially extract, transform, and load any calendar client. So somebody goes to their own calendar client itself, and they copy a simple email address. In this case here, we're promoting the fact that it would be your email address and your domain, which you can set up or we can set up. And when someone does that, the calendar invitation itself is ingested into AWS. So I'm not going to go into too many more details than that, but the point is it serves very well at scale for anybody to inject data into AWS around the calendar invite protocol. So as I scroll here, we get into how it's actually packaged at a detailed level and what services we're using from AWS. We talk about the software license itself, what's in there, and we go into great detail around the calendar client CRUD machine, we call it, and using the calendar client as your friend across all languages. It's noted technology-wise, because we're using the calendar client, we're compliant across all languages, and that's an important thing for multilingual and be able for yourself to use this technology and get to countries all across the world through the common calendar interface in Outlook or Google. That means we basically transcode on the fly using the calendar the calendar client itself. Excuse me. So I get into details here in pipeline 2 on how the ETL pipeline works, how we ingest it from the customer's client, and then how we essentially disassemble the calendar invite and then we reassemble it on the fly. It's our proprietary lambdas, as I discuss here in pipeline 2, as I go into it right here, how we disassemble them at a lightweight level. We don't go into great detail intellectual property wise because that's our secret sauce, but I give you kind of a good understanding of what we're doing right here. Now on pipeline 3, if a calendar invite goes into AWS on the create side, on the fly we have a very detailed workflow of notification back to the organizer itself on what actually happens on a retry. That's detailed here in pipeline 3, called the failed invite create. Now, if in fact on pipeline 4 the calendar invite is ingested correctly into AWS and it's a successful create, we go into a workflow here using the message pipeline, and I talk about what assets are used, such as SNS, SQS, SES, and the API gateway. Those are pretty commonly used in all the message pipelines themselves. Pipeline 5 is actually our technology that is put together for actually sending the calendar invite with AWS. We're using the AWS SES raw API. If you know anything about that, that's just a little tidbit on what we're working with. And we've been working with that and perfecting that, and it works quite well for multi-part ingestion from the calendar invite side and how we essentially inject the multi-part needed to actually send and track a correct calendar invite on SES. So it wouldn't be any good unless we're gathering the receipts from customers. So that's what we do here in this detailed. So as I go over these, you can see I'm highlighting them. And as they're highlighted, actually, I'm going off script here. I'm going to open in preview, and you can see here that you can actually get the detailed PDFs here. So this detailed PDF here summarizes what I'm talking about here in pipeline 6. It's kind of critical if you really want to understand how it all works. We detailed it all out. It's our secret sauce, but again, it's all built into the template on AWS. So let's get back to the script. Pipeline 6 I just reviewed. Pipeline 6 at a detail level is where we get the calendar receipt data. So the calendar receipt data is pulled out of this message workflow I just looked at in depth, and essentially that picks up all the yes, nos, and maybes from anybody's calendar receipt, and then we ingest them to S3, and then we display them in the organizer dashboard up here. So that ingest pipeline and how we ingest and reverse. A call receipt's done from the calendar client itself down to the end user, and then we ingest that back into Dynamo. So if it's canceled, if you need to cancel the event, all you need to do in workflow is go to the original calendar client, which was used to create the calendar snack into AWS. You just delete it on your own calendar client itself. Then we reverse look up that UID, and then we go through a pipeline of rebuilding the message and sending out the calendar invite cancellation. So we've gone to great length to follow the Internet Engineering Task Force on how that all works. That's detailed in 7. And then if you were to go into your calendar client and need to update anything at the organizer level for the event, we do the same thing. We follow the Internet Engineering Task Force. That allows us to basically use the calendar client as an injection machine, again, back to CRUD, and we can update anything that's attached into S3 bucket, into Dynamo, back out through the workflow of the messaging to SES, and back to the end user's calendar client. A little bit abstract, but as you get through it, you'll better understand how it all works, and encourage you to look at the detailed documentation here at the end, where I put together this quick little slide event. It takes you to the beginning and kind of talks about how it works at a detail level, how the upcoming page works, how upcoming landing works in detail with the front-end app, which is Calendar Snack, to the back-end 31 events. And then to make sure you understand that we do bulk calendar invite sending. That's how we got started. And this service does work at scale for sending hundreds of thousands of calendar invites using SES to subscribed email list such as newsletters, and that's where we have a couple of prototypes running right now. So that's it for a long form demo. Thanks for stopping by, and if you're a Calendar Snack user, thanks for giving us a try. We've had some 4,000 users over the last 5 years from 18 different countries use our technology, and a big shout out to anybody that's tested it. You helped us obviously progress the technology along the way. Thank you.